All aboard!
Oh my goodness. Room full of people out here. Hello everybody, I'm glad that you're here. Welcome back to Malfunction Junction. In case you don't remember, I am Uncle Joe and I run the Shady Rest Motel. Now last week we really had a disaster on our hands. I don't know how many of you were here, but it was a disaster because Charlie Smoot took a lighted torch into the bank and set the whole bank on fire. The fire department had to come and everything. That was a bad decision. But there's been a lot of smoke damage. I've been cleaning all this. It's still all messed up over here. There's just been smoke. Ooh, oh my goodness. There's been smoke damage everywhere. I've been working on cleaning up these columns for the entire week.
Well, hey, Uncle Joe. You know, I was just checking back here. It looks like the fire at the bank wasn't that bad after all. I think Malfunction Junction Bank will be opened up and be ready by the end of the week.
Wasn't that bad? What do you mean? It was a disaster. You burned up half the money at the bank, and we've been working on cleaning up the front of the bank ever since.
Well, I guess that's true, but things could always be worse. I mean, at least the front of the bank wasn't damaged.
I hate to tell you this, Charlie Smoot, but the entire bank was damaged, including the front. Look at these doors on the bank over here. They're melted together. They won't even open because the heat of the fire melted them together. The only way to get inside the bank now is to go through the back door.
Oh, well, hello, everyone. Are there any updates on the bank? When's it planned to reopen?
We hope it will be open by the end of the week, Betty Jo, but there's a lot of damage from the fire. We've been working on it all week.
Well, I heard that the front doors were melted together and won't open. I guess the only way to get inside the bank is through the back door. But at least those beautiful white columns weren't damaged.
Well, that's a matter of opinion. The columns were covered in soot and smoke, and I've been cleaning them all week, and just look at this. Can you believe that? The columns aren't even attached to the front of the bank anymore. The heat from the fire caused them to detach.
Well, I had no idea that had happened. I sure hope they don't fall. What are we going to do?
We just want to be safe and make sure that they don't fall. I put this orange cone here so that I can make sure nobody gets too close to them while I'm cleaning. Don't want any accidents or anything. You know how things happen in Malfunction Junction. We don't want to make any loud noises or anything either so that they don't get until they're reattached. Any loud noises could make them fall.
Speaking of loud noises, that reminds me that it's almost time for the Cannonball Express to depart. I better go and find my twin brother, Floyd Smoot.
Why don't you do that?
You know, those columns have always reminded me of a Bible story, and now that there's a chance they might fall, they really do.
What Bible story do these columns remind you of, Betty Jo?
Well, they remind me of the story of Samson, of course. Don't you know the story of Samson?
I do remember that story. Samson was another one of the judges of Israel.
I know it. He was one of the judges that was known for his super strength. Did you know that he once killed a lion with his bare hands?
Yes, I have heard that story. God
He's killed an army with a jaw on his arm.
He did do that too. He was absolutely amazing. God told him, you know, not to ever cut his hair, so he would have his super strength from God as long as he did not cut his hair.
That's right, and the Philistines were his enemies, but he fell in love with the Philistine woman.
Yeah, you know, that's always trouble, and that led to nothing but trouble. The woman's name was Delilah, and she tricked Samson into giving away his secret to his super strength. He told her that he would only have his strength as long as his hair did not get cut.
And would you believe it? She betrayed him and cut his hair while he was asleep. He lost his strength, and the Philistines were able to capture him.
They not only captured him, but they put out his eyes so that he was blinded and he couldn't see, and then they put him into prison.
But Samson's hair grew back while he was in prison, and God gave him back his super strength one last time.
I remember he was at a feast where a whole lot of Philistines had gathered, and he used his super strength to push over some columns just like these that were holding up the building that they were in, and it killed him and all the Philistines that were there.
That's right, and that is why these columns have reminded me of Samson. And now that they're in danger of falling, they remind me of the story even more.
Well, let's hope they don't fall. We don't want anybody to get hurt like the Philistines did.
Hey, what are you talking about? What's going to fall?
We were just talking about the columns there on the bank. They were damaged by the fire. But we've got them all cleaned up now. I've been working on it all week. All the soot and smoke is cleaned up. But they are still detached from the wall. We just don't want them to fall.
Nonsense, nonsense. These columns are as sturdy as can be. They will never fall.
I don't know, Floyd Smoot. I mean, they are a little bit wobbly.
They are.
Well, we just can't worry about that right now. It's time for the Cannonball Express to depart. Today is the day that we make history at Malfunction Junction.
You know, I've actually been thinking about that all week with all the malfunctions that go on. I'm not so sure it's a good idea to start the train. The noise and the vibration from the train could cause the columns to fall because they are unstable. Maybe we should just wait until next week and after the columns are reattached.
We can't wait. We can't do that. That would put us behind another week. And I'm telling you, this is the week that the Cannonball Express gets back on schedule. I can feel it.
Floyd Smoot, I think you really should just listen to Uncle Joe. I mean, he has been working on those columns all week. He knows what kind of condition they're in.
Just trust me, it will be fine. Now listen, let's go back through our list of what we need to do. First, we need to fill the train engine with water from the water tank. Second, we need to start the train and turn on the light. Third, we need to blow the train whistle. Fourth, we need to make sure that the track is clear. Fifth, we need to lower the train crossing safety arm. Sixth, we need to drive the train into the tunnel.
Well, if you're sure, I guess I'll help you with the engine. You can fill it up.
All right, I'll make sure the water gets in there.
I don't know.
That's probably a bad idea.
I'm ready. Lower it down.
It's going in backwards.
Oh, no.
All right. Okay, I think that's enough.
You only did it for 1 minute.
It doesn't need a lot. It's a small engine.
All right.
Now it's time to start the train.
I'll get the light.
You know what? I think it's also like backwards.
Good job. Awesome, Lau, are you sure about this?
Of course I'm sure. Now it's time for the disc 3. I'm going to blow the whistle.
Okay. I'll make sure the track is clear. Looks good to me.
Lower the safety arm.
All right. Here we go. Now it's clear.
Oh, I can't believe this is really going to happen.
Here we go.
It's about to clear.
Stop the train, Floyd Smoot. Stop the train.
Well, Floyd Smoot, you've done it again. Can you even get out of there?
Barely.
What a disaster.
Oh my goodness.
Did anybody see that coming? Excuse me, boy.
I believe it is another malfunction here at Malfunction Junction.
I can't believe that happened. The columns fell. And you know, these columns remind me of a Bible story, I'm thinking. Do you all know the story of Samson?
Yes, Floyd Smoot, we all know that story, and I think we're all going to think of Samson every time we see these white columns now, especially that they have fallen.
Well, at least nobody got hurt. I don't think they did anyway. When the columns fell, like when they knocked over by Samson.
Well, I guess the Cannonball Express isn't going to get back on schedule this week.
Yeah, I knew starting that train was a bad decision, but at least we know one thing. Come ride the little train that is rolling down the track to the junction.
Malfunction Junction.
It's time to make repairs. There's no time to relax at the junction.
Malfunction Junction.
Lots of things break down, and there's trouble all around at the junction.
Malfunction
Junction! All right. Well, we are going to dismiss now and see if we can clean up this next week. Are you?
Since we have some safety measures